thank you all for coming to MHS's as One Leadership through Entrepreneurship Workshop. So before, I just want to thank all the officers for organizing this entire event. I am honored, likewise, to be a guest speaker. And so without further ado, let's get started to know my business, culinary. Alright, so who exactly am I and what aspects of my personality brought me here? So, hello, I'm Lynn, and I am a workaholic. I am a very studious student. I focus everything I have onto school, and that's just because I grew up with that expectation that school is my number one priority. And that's okay if you don't agree with me. Everyone has their own, and it's completely fine. But I am a massive math person. I don't really associate myself with business, so it's a little convoluted on how I got here. I honestly can't really explain myself, but eventually one day I just figured that I kind of need to save up for college, and I don't want to keep relying on my parents for money. So I decided I should start trying to sell something, and what better else to sell than food, because people love food. And a fun fact, one night I just couldn't sleep at all, and I decided to bake a cake. And that cake, it was 4 a.m. Yes, it was 4 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. So I woke up and I was like, okay, what seems reasonable? Let's just bake a cake in the middle of the night, because why not? And I posted it on my Instagram story. And I was like, it was at 5 a.m. I was just posting random stuff. And at around 9, when people started waking up, they were commenting, whoa, I would totally buy that. You should start your own bakery. And so I did. And I don't really have much experience in this whole business field, but I knew somewhat of the basics, so I decided to spend the next couple of days figuring out the prices, handle, and all other logistics. So on August 5th, I launched Culinary, and I have received dozens of orders ever since. And fun fact, that cake that I made that morning was the same cake pictured here, and it's bun bò, which is a traditional Vietnamese cake. It's very spongy, and it's pandan flavor. So some difficulties, I think I skipped over a slide, that's why. But some difficulties that I have experienced, just because Culinary didn't really start out super smoothly. There were some bumps along the road, and that's mainly due because I don't have much experience with business. I don't really know how to start up my own company. I have no resources, no guidance, and I needed to do a lot of self-research to help me go on that path. So I was Googled a lot of stuff. I looked at other small businesses for inspiration, and that helped get me started. Additionally, I had no money to start either. I had to rely on my parents and get loans, and then eventually I need to pay them back. So I need to be super cautious about my spendings. As well, you all know, I repeated this, I am very, very dedicated to school. So balancing school with baking was a little difficult for me, and that I just needed to tell myself that it's okay to reorganize your priorities. You do not have to push everything to number one. You can set up your own schedule, and your biggest critic is yourself. So as long as you're okay with that, you'll find peace eventually. But enough about the cons, let's talk about the pros. I love baking. Baking is super fun, and no one can tell me otherwise. Baking basically got me into a massive stress-relief movement. I can't say how much stress school gives me, so baking kind of alleviates that. Additionally, I met tons of new friends and connections through my bakery as well. Some people that I have never even met before. And they helped expanded my bakery more than I could ever, because I can only go so far with my friend group. But if I contact strangers, they contact other people, and eventually I just expand further. As well, I really like it when people give me good feedback and praise, saying that they really like my bakeries, my baked goods, just because it gives me that self-satisfaction that I'm bringing joy into someone else's lives. And additionally, I love criticism. I need criticism, because otherwise, how else would I improve? And productivity, I was able to get in the habit of making my own schedules and preparing everything the night before, just so that I know exactly what to do the day afterwards. And so some of you guys might be considering to start up your own company, and I just wanted to tell you some things that you should be wary about. First off is pricing. So how much are you going to charge your products? You need to make sure that your revenue covers both the cost and the labor for your work. Do not go skimpy on yourself, because eventually you'll start tiring yourself out. As long as you feel comfortable with the pricing and how much profit you're receiving, it will be okay. Additionally, there's also advertisement. So when you start posting and networking, realize what type of post schedule should you have in mind. I try my best to post every week or so. I'm becoming a little more lenient at the school starting. Before, I posted every 3 days. So it all depends, and as long as you have a tentative schedule for yourself, it will be okay. And something that one of my business friends have told me was to make sure you keep track of every little detail you do. So I have a massive spreadsheet where I would just put like, oh, I spent this much amount of money on this date. I did this on this date. I delivered this on this date. And it's just a bunch of information. Some of them don't even correspond to each other, but they're in the same location. And that's okay. Just make sure you log everything so you're a bit more organized and know what you need and don't need to do in the future. And that's all I have for me. So thank you all for listening. If you have any questions after the workshop, you can contact me at culinary@gmail.com, at culinary on Instagram, or if you want to order, the form is tinyurl.com/culinary. I just want to thank the officers again one last time, and I hope you enjoy listening, and I know that you'll enjoy Karrington's even better.